This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Very quickly, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, I will be on as a guest to answer questions and have a conversation on the Letter Hack channel with Matt Strackbine. And it would be great if you would join me. Go subscribe to his channel. There will be a link in the description below, but also in a pinned comment. And I'd love to see you there in the chat, which I will also be in. All right, let's talk today about Jamie Raskin and this continued battle for Speaker where Jim Jordan is vying to be second in line to the presidency here in the United States. Those words in and of themselves should send a shudder down your spine. A level of fear and discomfort should overcome you at the prospect of Jim Jordan, friend to insurrectionist, do nothing in Congress, and cheerleader for the emperor with no clothes, Donald Trump. Jamie Raskin, a member of Congress from the local area here, from just nearby in Maryland, close to Washington, D.C., he was on with Chris Hayes on MSNBC last night, and he laid out the case for who could be put forward that Democrats would support, maybe support. I mean, he talks about it that, that it's not a decision from the conference, the Democratic Party as a whole in the House of Representatives, but for him, maybe these are some names that could be acceptable to Democrats. And they include Liz Cheney, they include Mitt Romney, they include Angus King, who's not a Democrat, but caucuses with Democrats. He's an independent senator from Maine. And I wanted to share this with you, and I want to have a conversation, both in the comments, but if you want to leave me a voicemail, to talk about the prospect of this. We are in uncharted territory relative to filling the speakership. But moreover, we're in uncharted territory with a party of abject chaos and dysfunction being one of the two political parties. The Republican Party is off the rails. They have been for years, but now it's just out in the open. It's not even a secret anymore that not only can they not govern the United States, they can't even govern themselves. Watch Jamie Raskin on MSNBC.
Would you be open to some kind of pact, some sort of deal struck to elect a speaker that was a Republican, but in exchange for, some sort of demands on rules or a vote on a CR or something like that?
Well, obviously, we favor Hakeem Jeffries. This was the 16th time we've voted unanimously and passionately for Hakeem Jeffries. He's a super well-organized, efficient, effective leader, and you can take him at his word. He's totally trustworthy. But if we can't get 6 Republicans to come over to our side, I've said from the beginning, there are a number of Republicans that I could support on a principled power-sharing basis, assuming that our caucus were to endorse that. And we operate as a caucus. We're not out there wheeling and dealing on our own. But one of the things that I've said from the beginning is Liz Cheney would be a perfect choice herself. She was the chair of the Republican conference. She was the number 3 Republican for several years while we were here, a very conservative Republican, but she believes in the constitutional order. And so we trust her. Mitt Romney is another name that has been floated as someone who we could trust. Angus King, who's the independent from Maine, is another person that we could look at. And a lot of my colleagues, Chris, come from states where there have been state legislative power sharing arrangements where gavels are shared, half of the committees to one side, half to the other side. The parties can take turns holding the gavel during the week. It would be a very positive thing for us. We need to get aid to our democratic allies in Ukraine and in Israel. We need to keep the government going. This is a very serious condition that the GOP chaos has plunged us into right now.
Now let's think about this and talk about this from just the principle of it. Right now in our country, I believe the greatest threat we face is the end of democracy as we know it. Donald Trump and the legion, the horde of unwashed, low information rubes who worship at his feet, that is what they want. They know that their positions in the world, political positions, policy positions, are unpopular, wildly unpopular, and out of step with what the vast majority of Americans believe. whether that be abortion, whether that be funding for Ukraine, whether that be a host of other social issues. And because of this, they know that getting elected in a straight up, square, even Steven fight of democracy, they're going to lose. They don't got the votes. People are not here for their positions. So the only way to win, the only way to remain in power is through cheating, is through suppression of the vote. It's through anti-democratic means. So on that note, even though Mitt Romney and Liz Cheney hold reprehensible views on policy, the one thing that we share alike is a fondness, an adherence, a loyalty to democracy continuing in America. So putting forward a speaker who's not going to stand for anti-democracy is good enough. That's how far we've fallen as a country with our two major political parties, that's good enough. You stand for democracy? Okay, we'll look aside. We'll ignore your other horrible viewpoints on social issues and economic issues because you're not here to tear down the fabric of our country relative to democratic rule. I'd love to know what you think about this. I'm uncomfortable with the prospect, but I'm generally uncomfortable with where we are as a nation. But I can tell you this, if we're choosing between a Jim Jordan or even a Kevin McCarthy and a Liz Cheney, I'm here for Liz Cheney every single day. If the choice is between some radical element of the Republican Party, and Jim Jordan is that to be sure, and Mitt Romney, I'm going to go with Mitt Romney if those are my only two choices. If the proverbial gun is to my head, I'm going to choose one of these other individuals who doesn't support, who doesn't actively work against democracy in America. I'd love to know what you think about this. You can leave a comment below. We can have a conversation there. You can also call and leave me a brief, please, brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, all of them at Dollemore. And if you want to join with me and help produce this content, help reach the masses with the truth, standing up for democracy, you can become a channel member right here on YouTube for $2 a month. You can hit the super thanks button, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. I hope that I'll see you tonight in the chat on the letter hack with Matt. That would be fantastic. Subscribe when you get there. This guy's a talented, progressive, awesome. I'll see you there. Be genuine. Take care of one another.